Hi guys, Squirrel here. Welcome to another episode of This May Contain Nuts. We're in San Diego, and this is a Freightliner FOB low cab. It's, as you can probably tell by looking at the paintwork, it's been around the block. 3.5 million miles according to what's on the dash. It's a mod. It is in the mod spreadsheet if you want to try it. It's not the most complete mod in the world, most complete truck, but it's different, it's fun, and it comes with a bunch of skins that make it look really old. I mean, it's kind of hard to put this thing with a trailer that doesn't look out of place because it is so old looking, and most of the trailers are modern and shiny. Particularly like if you take the chrome trailer, it looks ridiculous next to this thing, but I enjoy it. It's fun. So today, apart from answering TMCN questions, we need to go and pick up our trailer over here. We're going to be hauling a piece of machinery up to Tucson, Arizona, is where we're going. So let me just... Actually, I think we can probably just flick it around here. Cab overs for the win, eh? I am told you don't see many cab overs these days in America, but obviously in Europe they're pretty common. In fact, they're more than pretty common. Pretty much all you see. Right, there she is. Unfortunately, I couldn't get any beacon on top of the truck, and I don't think this trailer comes with any. Which, you know, you would certainly want to have a beacon on this trailer. It's massive, this thing. It's 33 tons. The cargo is a Vertgen W2100. 33 tons of going to Tucson, as you can see. It's a bit of a monster. And even with a... You know, the cab over, the whole length of the thing is still pretty long. Like that trailer, the header on that trailer is pretty massive. So this is going to be fun. I can't remember if I fit the 475 brake engine to this thing. Or the 500. It's a Cat engine. I remember that bit. Anyway, first of all, what I'll say is thank you for submitting questions to This May Contain Nuts. Obviously, without those questions, I won't be able to do these videos, so thank you for that. We had a bunch of questions come through, which I'm going to go through some of them today. I mentioned to you last time when I did a This May Contain Nuts that had a theme to it, and the theme was holidays. I'm just careful about the trailer clipping this thing. I'm going to have to go at an angle to get out of here. Right over the pavement. There we go. And I think the themed TMCN seemed to work pretty well. I've had a bunch of theme suggestions through, so I have picked a theme for the next TMCN. The theme is suggested by Jay Bansel. Well, I've got a few theme suggestions, by the way, but the one I've picked for next time is by Jay Bansel, and the theme is transport. Okay. So if you've got any questions for next time, for next TMCN video, theme them as transport, because I'll be looking for transport themed questions. And that can be whatever you decide that means. Transport themed questions. When you submit a question, if you could also submit any theme suggestion with the question, that would be great. So submit your question. If you've got a suggestion for a theme, put it in there as well. It just makes it easier than leaving comments. I'm not scraping comments on videos, guys. It's too much work. The video description has a link to a form you can use to submit questions. Very, very simple that way. It's just a Google form, and it collects them into a spreadsheet and makes it really, really easy to go through. So just do it that way. Submit your questions via the form in the video description, and if you've got a theme suggestion, put it in there with your question. Just say, oh, my theme suggestion is whatever. You know, balloons, whatever it's going to be. In before I get 100 balloon suggestions, but whatever. Right, let's get on with some questions, shall we? The very first question, where's the line? There's the line. Cool. Let's get it into... Okay, why is that switch not working? 5L? What happened to my first gear? I appear to have lost first gear. What the heck? I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I've lost for... Like, my up-down shifter is completely not working. Wow. Well, that's interesting. So I can do 6L. 1 second, guys, 1 second. Why has this suddenly completely gone bonkers? SKRS is selected. So it's not there. Why is it whenever you go to make a video, something goes wrong? It really is sod's law. 6L, 5L. I can't put it into 5H anymore. What the heck? Let me unplug SKRS. Put it back in, maybe. There we go. Will that do it? There we go. How utterly random. Okay, well, sorry about that little intermission. Basically, my SKRS just went derpy and decided it wasn't going to be detected by the USB hub. So I plugged it into a different slot and it went, oh yeah, you have got an SKRS. Thanks, I can change gear again. Let's get on with the questions. The first one comes from Hallvard Marås Moberg. And he says, have you ever played any musical instruments? If so, what was it and how much time did you invest in the instrument? Kazoo is not an option. I don't even know what a kazoo is. Right, thank you, Hallvard. Have you ever played any musical instruments? Right. When I was young, back in the war, no, not that old, jeez. When I was young, and I remember going to some lesson once. Oh no, that was it. We were sat in the assembly hall, and the head teacher said, "Oh, you know, we're going to have some people round. They're going to do like an assessment. We're going to let you play like different instruments. They're going to give you like a simple test to see if you've got musical aptitude, right? And just to see if any of you might be good at music." That's what they said. So I sat this test, this little practical test, and on the test it had I remember it had 4 boxes, and the 4 boxes basically were if it turns out that you're any good at music, right? What kind of instrument would you like to play? And I remember there being percussion checkbox, a string checkbox. I think there was like a woodwind or a wind, I can't remember, like a wind instrument, you know, like a trumpet or clarinet or whatever. And there was something else, which I can't remember. Now, my dad played guitar, and I thought to myself, oh man, this would be really cool, I could play guitar. I could learn how to play guitar and be like my dad. So I take the string box. Number of weeks went by, next thing a teacher turns up, and they're like, okay, right, you guys that ticked string, come with us. And we're like, yay, play guitar. Went into a room and they went, this is a violin. Well, my jaw hit the floor. I was like, what? A violin? I don't want to play a violin. Well, it's a string instrument. Can you not do guitar? Sorry, we don't do guitar. But you can learn to play a violin. I was like, ugh. I don't know if you've ever looked at a violin or tried to play a violin. It's hard, man. I mean, it's hard. Like, a guitar has places on it where you put your fingers, and everybody knows, right, that, if you put your finger there, that's an E. You know? If you put your finger there, that's a C. on a violin, it's like, well, you can't use your finger like that, but if you kind of stroke the string with this thing, and put your finger round about there, but you'll have to listen for what sounds like a C. What does a C sound like? Well, it sounds like this. Okay. It's completely crazy playing a violin. And so coupled with that, I didn't actually want to play a violin. So that didn't help, because if you don't want to play something, if you want to play something else, your heart's not in it. Basically, I had a go, and it was, we got a really cheap guitar from somewhere, and I ended up just not going to lessons at all. In the end, the teacher gave up on me and didn't come anymore because it was awful. No way did I want to play a guitar. But yeah, that was the first instrument I guess I kind of tried to learn to play but didn't want to. Later in life I started to play the guitar a bit, mostly an acoustic guitar. Never really got into the electrics at all. You know, I know some chords on guitar, but that's about as far as it goes. Oh, come on! Way station already? Are you kidding me? They're like, yeah, look at you, pal. You're coming into the way station. So yeah, I don't really play anything. I kind of had a go at keyboard as well as a teenager and found out that I sucked at that. So music is something that I can appreciate greatly, but I just can't seem to be good at something when it comes to an instrument. So yes, I have played guitar, I have played violin, but really, really badly. You know, really badly. Okay, let's just line her up here. Get into first ready. 49 tons gross weight. Ouch. Thank you for the question, Hallvard. Right, next one is from Torukafka. Says, hello Paul. Hope you're doing good. My question is, do you think ATS should have started on the East Coast, considering there are many states there that are much smaller and hence could have had more content to begin with? It's a very interesting question, that one. Because I know where you're coming from. Like, what was the decision-making process that SCS went through when they decided to make West Coast instead of East Coast? I mean, let's be honest, right? If they'd have made East Coast first, we'd probably be sitting here going, why didn't they start on the West Coast? It's sunny. And I think maybe that had something to do with it. Maybe it was a case of, well, we could start on the East, and we could start on the West, but why don't we just start somewhere that we kind of fancy, and we kind of fancy doing California? Maybe that was it, and nothing more. In a logical sense, I guess East Coast would have given them a higher density. Would it have been any quicker? Would we have got more states out the door? I don't know. I honestly don't know why they chose West Coast. It would be an interesting question the next time I bump into Pavel to ask him, well, what was the reason you went West Coast? It would be an interesting question, that one. But in all honesty, I don't know, and I don't really have any strong feelings either way as to whether they should have gone East Coast or not. East Coast would have certainly been a lot more industrial, but I kind of like driving over, you know, Arizona and Nevada. I kind of like that. And maybe that was another reason why they did it, because they thought to themselves, well, we could go for the kind of deserty areas and get them out the door quicker, which, you know, obviously kind of never really happened, but obviously when they were thinking about all this, maybe that's the thought process they went through. I don't know. It's an interesting question though, thank you Torukafka. Next comes from EI. He says, if you was to create a brand new simulator, what would it be based around and why? A brand new simulator, what would it be based around and why? Well, okay. Let me kind of step back a little bit. When we say the word simulator, we need to define what we mean. Simulator is, to me... Hang on, let me slow down here before I get fined by the guy in front of me. Simulator to me is a simulation of something, right? A simulation of something usually that you find in real life, yeah? If we look at something like flight simulation, I would not try to make a flight simulator, right? Let me say that straight away. The reason being, A, we already have, you know, X-Plane and P3D and FSX to some extent, and whatever's coming out from Dovetail. And they do them very, very detailed. Like, they're incredibly detailed simulators. They're already simulating real life pretty darn well. So there's no need to make another simulator, so I wouldn't. If you was to take something like, say, Farm Simulator, or Truck Simulator, like American Truck, Euro Truck, they're both, you know, if you have a little, almost like a fuel gauge that goes from left to right, and you say on the left is arcade and on the right is like hardcore simulation. Whereas Flight Sim, the needle would be very far to the right. I think with Euro Truck and farming sim games, they would probably be somewhere in the middle, maybe slightly left of middle. They're kind of more arcade than simulation. You know, if you think about this, I can't click any buttons in here, can I? I can't click anything. I can't even get out of my truck. You know, the wheels don't need to be replaced, the tyres don't need to be replaced, I don't need to worry about servicing so much apart from a generic service box. They're very arcade in style. They're not simulation based. You know, the physics isn't realistic like it was, example, in spin tyres. You know, there's a lot about this game and farming sims that are not realistic. They are a simulation, but they're not really a simulation, if you see what I mean. They're kind of arcade simulation. Fun simulation, you might say. I don't have a problem with that at all. I'm just saying that's what they are. I'm just defining them, I guess. And then you've got things like racing simulators, like, you know, your Project Cars of the world, the Assetto Corsa, iRacing, all these kind of racing sims. Again, some of them are very well up in the simulation, like the needle would be quite far to the right on those because they're done very, very well. And then you've got your train simulator, which, you know, if we look at Dovetail's train sim, or Trains, or Run 8 and that kind of thing, they vary in degree of how simulatory they are. In some aspects they're quite detailed, and in others they're a little bit simplified. So what I'm trying to say is, I would always look at what's already there before I made a decision about what kind of simulator I would make. Couple that with what would I like to play myself, what would I actually like to see, and you end up with a very interesting answer, which is, I'm not really sure, to be honest, but I wouldn't make a flight sim. There's already a train sim coming out, Train Sim World, which looks like it should be a lot more detailed than the current train sim, so maybe we don't need another one. Would I make a truck simulator and make it super detailed? Well, I'd like to say yes. I'd like to say yes, but, well, there's already a truck sim out, isn't there? It's just not simulatory enough, or doesn't have enough gameplay for my liking. But that doesn't mean to say I'd want to make another one, necessarily. And also the biggest problem with things like a truck sim is, it's not so much about the trucks. There are only so many trucks in the world. It's all about making the map and the places to drive. That's where the real effort is, and that is an insane amount of work. So I don't know, is the answer. I don't know what simulator I'd make. Maybe I'd go for something that hasn't been made before, something completely different, like a proper heavy machinery simulator. Don't know. I honestly don't know the answer to that one, EI. I'd have to really think about it, and I honestly don't know right now what I would go for. I was just giving you my musings on it, but thank you for the question. Brenton Wayans says, I'm allergic to all nuts. Is this video processed on the same equipment as nuts? Is this video processed on the same equipment as nuts? What? Okay. Not sure I get this question, Brenton, if I'm honest. Let me just lock myself into cruise control here. I eat nuts at home, so I guess there's probably traces of nuts on my equipment. So I guess this video probably contains some nuts, so yeah. I don't know! It's a weird question. Next question from Ducky. What's your favourite scenic route in Promods? Easy. Iceland. There's two things I like about Promods. Excuse me. The Scotland run, up to Oban and stuff, and the Iceland run, along the north coast and up into the very top west. You know that run into the very top west, sorry, northwest, not top west, the very northwest. It's like a very spiral road that follows the coastline. I made a video on it explicitly. It's just beautiful. I love it. That's my favourite run. Martzilla 1989 says, hello Paul, sausage or bacon sandwich and red or brown sauce? Tough one. I like both sausage and bacon sandwich. I have bacon sausages. Bacon sausages? I have bacon sandwiches more commonly, although I have bacon on toast. I don't know if that makes it a sandwich or it's more of a toasty if you do that. But I tend to have bacon on toast with brown sauce. That's my favourite. But I like sausage on toast with brown sauce as well. So they both get equal footing, but definitely brown sauce. And if you're wondering what brown sauce is, in the UK brown sauce is something like HP sauce. And red sauce is what is more commonly known as ketchup, tomato ketchup. That's what we call red sauce. You know, different names for the same thing. Next question comes from Jorji Costava, who says, "Hello Paul, if I understand correctly, simulation games is what the aim of your channel is. Wouldn't the military simulators like Arma series or Operation Flashpoint be fitting here instead? Assuming your answer is negative, do you play them?" I started this channel on Battlefield 3. I played a lot of DayZ, went on to play Arma and Wasteland mods. I love Arma the game. It does suffer from frame rate problems when you play certain mods, and there's a lot of, you know, there's been a lot of action on the map, shall we say. But other than that, Arma is a great platform. But I don't tend to play it at the kind of more hardcore, organised level. I tend to jump in and have fun, is how I play Arma. You know, jump into Wasteland and just blow stuff up and shoot people. I haven't said that. I haven't played it in quite a while. But I have played, or I am playing, quite a bit of Rainbow Six Siege, which I think is a terrific game. I don't know if you'd class it as a simulator as such, though. It's a shooter, I would probably call it, genre, but I would kind of class Arma as a shooter as well, if I'm honest, more than a simulator. For example, I don't think when you take off in the helicopters, its helicopter simulation is very good, nor is its driving side of it, so I would still class it more of a shooter than a simulator. But, you know, I'm not going to pick the bones of that one. But I play Rainbow Six. Would I put any of them on the channel? Probably not. I don't think they belong here given what I do now, which is mostly tending to focus on vehicle simulation, I guess, is what I seem to do now. I focus on, you know, the planes, the trucks, the trains, that kind of thing. So I guess I'm about vehicle simulation rather than just simulation. It is where I appear to be going with everything. So I don't think I would bring Arma here. Operation Flashpoint I don't play at all. But Rainbow Six I do enjoy, but I don't make videos on it, if that makes sense. But thank you for the question, Jorji. Next one comes from Valak, I think it is. It says, "Hello Paul, my question is, if you had to choose between being a millionaire or immortal life, which one would you choose and why?" Hope you read this question. Why has the sat-nav got me going off there? That doesn't make any sense. Unless it thinks I need fuel, which I don't, because I can see it. My fuel gauge is 3/4. That was weird. Very strange routing. How far have we got left? 210 miles. Mr. Valak, would I be a millionaire or an immortal? It's a weird one. If you said to somebody, you know, would you be a millionaire? Like 100 years ago, a millionaire, right, was a very, very different concept to a millionaire these days. A millionaire now is, you know, there are probably millions of them. And the reason is, like, property prices themselves. Like, if you live in London, if you live near London, okay, it's not uncommon for, you know, a 4-bed detached to be a 4-bed semi. Let's say 4-bed semi. A 4-bed semi, not even in London, like around London, within the M25, would be $750,000. Easy. Easy. $750,000. 100 years ago, it might have been, I don't know, like £100 or something. So £1 million would have, 100 years ago, is an insane amount of money, but £1 million now is like, you know, a property in London, like some 2-bed flat in the middle of centre of London is probably going for more than £1 million. That's the reality of it. So £1 million, and also if you look at pension schemes, right? If you was to talk to a pension advisor and say, hey, you know what, pension advisor, I want to retire at 55, and he'll say to you, okay, 55, so life expectancies being what they are now, you probably need to allow for like a 30 years worth of pension. How much do you want to draw per year in your pension? You go, I don't know, £40,000, that sounds great. And they'll go, alright, so you need about 400 grand every 10 years. Now you need £1.2 million in your pension pot for 30 years. And you're like, what? I've got to save £1.2 million so I can retire at 55 for 30 years on 40 grand a year. Yep. And that's why we have a pension crisis. So £1 million is not a huge amount of money. You know, it won't really set you up for life unless you're really clever with what you do with that money. Would I be immortal? Nah. I don't even think I like the idea of that. I think I'd like to live longer. I think if you take, you know, the fictional elves in Tolkien's books, like elves live, what, 1,000 years or something? I kind of feel like life's too short these days. There's too much to take in. Like, let me put it this way. You go through school, you go through university, you come out at the age of, what, like 21 or something, you're specialised in something. You then go and spend a number of years, perhaps up to 10 years, learning your craft, like really perfecting your skills to become some kind of specialist in your subject. By that point, you're in your 30s. Now you're thinking to yourselves, hang on, I'm getting older. I need to think about children here, otherwise it's going to be too late. So now you have kids. You get distracted from your work, or you try and balance work and life at the same time. At which point, that detracts from what you're focused on as a professional, because now you've got a family to deal with as well. So before you know where you are, you're probably heading towards your 40s and thinking, whoa, what's going on here? My kids are at school now. I need to be spending time with them and, you know, helping them with their career. And oh, crikey, I need to think about retiring now because I'm getting into my 50s and I'm retiring soon. And oh, I'm retiring. Right. How long have I got left? Do you see the problem? We don't live long enough now. We can't specialise in... Like, each subject that you can specialise in is so incredibly detailed now, so in-depth, that to just even get to a point where you can progress the science further, you need to spend a lot of time in that subject. And before you know it, life is taking over you. Like, life is changing around you. Plus there's like, you know, you want to go and visit places, you want to spend time with your family, your friends, and all the rest of it, enjoy life, and have a career, and have a family. It's like insane. If we could live much longer, life would be so much easier. We could become a professional. You know, we wouldn't have to think about having kids for another 50 or 100 years, or whatever it is. Let's say we live 500 years, for example, you know. We could spend 100 years, basically, becoming a real professional at something. You could even go through more than one profession. You could think about specialising in one thing and then thinking, hey, I don't like this subject anymore. I'm going to spend 20 years retraining myself. Everything would become different, but it doesn't matter how long you live, you'll always think to yourself, I wish I could live longer. But the idea of being immortal does not appeal to me. I wouldn't want to see many other people's lifetimes. I wouldn't want to have friends and lose them continuously because I'm living forever. That doesn't appeal at all. So I guess answering your question there, Valak. Answering your question there, Valak, I would take the £1 million because I could do something useful with £1 million, whereas an immortal state would render me in a... I mean, what happens when the universe ends? Am I still immortal? How far do we take that question? Anyway, you've got my answer. I'd take the $1 million. Max Clayton, what is your favourite season and month and why? Max, my favourite season, interesting. I like the fact that seasons change. I like each season individually, let me say that, okay? But I also like the fact that they change. Now, if you're asking me what my favourite season is, let me tell you what isn't my favourite season. Hay fever season. Hay fever season is not my favourite season. I hate it so badly. So that would be May and June for me. May is a killer, June is a killer. May and June, horrible. However, the weather is beautiful in May and June, which is why everything's flowering and throwing pollen everywhere, because it's beautiful and the days are long. I love the time of year, but I hate the pollen. If you want me to pick my favourite, it would be April. And the reason is, you know, with April, the clocks have moved forward again. The days are nice and long. The sun, like the weather, the days are getting longer. We're going towards summer. We're going towards better weather. It feels good, man. And April is my favourite month for that reason, because I haven't yet had the problems with hay fever, but I am enjoying the warmer climate and the longer days. And my birthday's in April as well, so I guess that counts. But no, I love April the most. So that would be my favourite. September is equally nice, you know, it's kind of like April, except the days are getting shorter and we're heading towards winter, which doesn't feel quite as good to me. So I'd go with April. Nicholas K is the next question. It says, what is your favourite... No, hang on, I just read that. Nicholas K says, what has been your favourite or least favourite videos to make? Oh my god. Some of the least favourite videos I've ever had were where I've had recording troubles. Either technical recording troubles, you know, where the recording software won't capture the image, or the frame rate goes funny, or the audio and video goes out of sync, so you spend an hour doing a video only to discover the footage is ruined. They're frustrating times. Flight Sim can be very, very frustrating for that reason. You can record a video on Flight Sim, spend 2 hours setting it up, an hour recording it, 2 hours recording it, and then your P3D crashes. And then you're trying to stitch everything back together again, and it's just an awful experience. So flight sims have some of the most frustrating, have been some of the most frustrating videos to make. In terms of sheer time and effort, live footage videos by far are frustrating because they take so much time. Like, the setup for them is something, unless you've done it, it's something that you would have to experience to understand. You can spend a day, half a day to a day, just setting up, you know, the area, the lighting, getting all the stuff in place, like cleaning everything so it's not dusty, getting the camera and the tripod out, checking the, you know, the batteries, just everything about it. And then you've sort of got to think about the scenes that you're going to film, how you're going to film in what order, making sure you've got all the footage you need, because if you miss something, it's going to be a half a day to set up the lights again to do it, to take more footage. Let me tell you, recording live footage for, you know, a bit of a mouse review even, or a keyboard review, or a monitor review, or just a PC, or it takes forever, and the editing takes forever because you've got lots and lots of little bits of footage, and you've got to do the audio commentary, which means you need a script. It's a massive amount of effort. So they are my least favourite to make in a way, because they're huge amounts of effort. Favourite ones to make, I guess, fun games. You know, where I can jump in, things like when I played things like Stranded Deep or The Forest, where I could just jump in and I never know what's going to happen. Like, you hit the record button, you have an idea about what you're going to do, and you don't know what the NPCs are going to do, and you just go with it. Those kind of things are really fun. Let me see if we can speed up here. Got increased speed limit, now we've crossed the border. Try and take advantage of that a little bit. Yeah, let's lock it in at just over 60. I don't want to be catching up these vehicles in front. Favourite videos are the ones that are just fun to make or quite easy to make. What is this guy doing? Why are they going so slow on a 75 road? This is weird. So that, hope that answers your question though, Nicholas. Next question is from VP Capella, who says, have you ever eaten some greasy food and then tried to drive and see your G27 or G29 leather all greasy? I've tried it and it wasn't so great. See, VP, my solution to that problem after you've eaten greasy food is just go and wash your hands. That's what I normally do. I don't try to smear my equipment with grease or food or anything else for that matter, if I can possibly help it. So that's what I normally do, is just wash my hands. Takes a minute. Top tip. Orange Puppy 10 says, what do you think makes England different from anywhere else? I.e., what makes you live unique in any way? One sec, let me just get in the right correct lane. I don't know if there's anything that makes us live uniquely, to be honest with you, Orange. I think England seems to have a high percentage of, you know, scientists and engineers and inventors. I don't fully understand why that is or came about. I think some of it may be that because we live on an island. I only imagine, like, the reason we used to have a really big navy, I think, was because we lived on an island. And in order to get anywhere outside of our country, we had to use boats. So we kind of developed, you know, necessity being the mother of invention and all that, we kind of developed, we invented a lot of things in order to get ourselves off the island, I guess. But I don't know if there's anything now that makes us particularly unique in that respect. But probably our heritage, our history has something to do with the fact we are the way we are. You know, obviously living on an island as well has meant it's been more difficult for people to invade us, like obviously World War II and all that. It was difficult to invade England because you had to cross the English Channel, and that prevented invasion in many respects. But I don't know if there's anything else unique about us, to be honest. Apart from we eat a lot of chips, I guess. Or what the Americans would call fries. That would be fried potato. But thank you for the question. Let's see. Ewan WRU Champs says, hi Paul, if you could meet anyone famous... what the heck? 1 second. Rip. Where are we going? Can we go that way? If you could meet anyone... I don't fancy taking this through, though. I mean, it'll probably go, but... Let me have a look at the map. Oh, crikey. You what, mate? Is there anything behind us? If you could meet anyone famous, who would it be? I always said to a friend many years ago, I love Kevin Spacey as an actor. I think he's a brilliant actor. I love Kevin Spacey. But I'd never want to meet him. And he was like, what? I said, yeah. I said, I think when you meet your idol will never be what you thought. In your mind, you built up this picture of somebody. They'll never be what you think. So I hope I never meet my idols, kind of thing. So I like Kevin Spacey. There's a lot of people I respect, you know. This is going to be ridiculous. But I don't want to meet them. I'll be honest with you. For that reason. Crikey. This is pretty insane. What else have we got? Shane Gardner says, what was the best thing you ever received for Christmas or birthday? I think I've already answered this previously, actually. The best thing I ever got, my most memorable Christmas birthday ever, my most memorable Christmas ever was, without doubt, when I got my very first home computer, a ZX Spectrum. I'd waited months for that day, and when I got it, it did not disappoint. It was the best day. One of the best days of my life. It was beautiful. I spent the next few days doing nothing else but being on my computer. And then most of the rest of my life, lol. So that would definitely rank as being the best day. Best presents. I really hope I don't need to turn this thing around to deliver it. Because that would be really annoying. Right, Jeff. Ah, yeah, I think we can just reverse it in here by the look of it. Yeah, I'll take that. Lovely jubbly. Right, that's the end of the TMCN questions for this episode. Don't forget the link in the video description if you want to submit your own question. The theme next time is transport, so please only ask transport questions. And if you do have a theme suggestion, then put it at the end of your question. It'll make it easier. Can't see where we're reversing. Which is never a good thing. There we go, now we can see it. Well, this is a fun little delivery. Seems to have got here without any major issues, to be honest. Yeah, this Freightliner FOB is a fun little truck if you want to try it. It is in the mod spreadsheet, mods.squirrel.tv. I have a bunch of subdomains, mods.squirrel.tv to go to my mods, specs.squirrel.tv to go to my PC specs, pc.squirrel.tv if you want to buy a Squirrel PC, cap.squirrel.tv if you want to buy a Squirrel cap. Is this actually going to ding? There we go. But those links are also in the video description as well. Detach. What have we got? Excellent delivery. Ooh, bonuses. High value. Yay! XP. We'll take that. Alrighty then. Well, that was pretty fun. Let's get away from our trailer a second. That was another episode of TMCN. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give me a like. Until next time, guys, take care. Happy trucking.